Okay, welcome everyone to the Semaphore Music Festival Podcast. Today's guest on the podcast is singer-songwriter Paul MacLeod, an artist in the true sense of the word, who loves and lives blues and soul in the outback, its red dirt roads. And he fills that with his passion and music, his intense vocal style, and complemented by this fire and earth and an amazing band who come together to make Paul on the road. We're proud to say are on the road to Semaphore for this year's festival, the October long weekend. Paul, welcome to the podcast and thanks so much for your time today.
No worries. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me.
Mate, can you tell us about, I did a bit of Googling and so on. I got Paul on the road to Damascus. I got a lot of Bible references. Tell us about, for those who aren't familiar around the world and just in coming to Semaphore, how did Paul on the road come together?
I have to say it's not actually a Christian band. It's not, and all your references there. I get them too when I Google as well. But the band, I'm fairly well known in the Adelaide scene for my old band Holler on the Bones. I won the Memphis Blues Challenge. But Holler on the Bones had a lot of distance to travel, so we kind of went our separate ways. We're still mates, and the Bones are coming down to my party next week, which would be nice. So I had another project after Holler on the Bones called Murmurations, which was exploring my passion for birds. I'm a bit of a bird watcher, and I'd also written a lot of songs with birds in them. So the Murmuration Orchestra was formed for an Adelaide Fringe project a couple of years ago, and I was lucky enough to get Michael Winter, our bass player, involved in that project. Michael and I had first performed together at an Adelaide Roots and Blues Association gig at the Wheatsheaf Hotel here, which is a great pub. I don't know how well you know the Adelaide scene, Adam.
Yeah, Wheatsheaf well.
Cool. So the Wheatsheaf's a great venue. And we'd been put together by the Adelaide Roots and Blues Association, and that had Dave Rhodes from Paul on the Road as well. Mm-hmm. You might see with Dave Rhodes where one of the connections with the road name came in. We really enjoyed playing together. I also used to jam with Dave and Jeff, the drummer at our mate's factory in Cheltenham during COVID times when it was illegal to be having such gatherings, and so made it all the more fun. Illicit anyway. It was illicit, yeah. We're really just a bunch of musos who really enjoyed playing together. Gilly, percussionist from Holler on the Roads, was playing with us, and unfortunately, Gilly passed away at the end of last term. I'm a teacher as well, so we all got together to celebrate Gilly's life. Gilly was a Ngarrindjeri man. He was the other through line from Holler on the Bones to Paul on the Road. And Jeannie is Dave's partner. She sings with us on the album, and she's electric on stage. She's great to watch on stage. So we've got two front people, front man, front woman, which we have a bit of fun with. Like our Blame Blues song, we have a bit of a domestic on stage. But of course, because Jeannie's Dave's partner, he's saying he's outsourced his domestics to me. So we're mates. We're all mates, and we love hanging out together. Dave and I went to America. We won the Adelaide Roots and Blues Association's Memphis Blues Challenge, and we represented South Australia in Memphis this year. In January, we made it through to the semi-finals. Didn't quite get as far as the Honey Badgers or even Frank Sultana from Sydney, but we did pretty well, and made some amazing connections there with all the musos in Sydney, musos in Memphis, and multiple connections. And within the band, Dave and Michael have been playing together for intermittently over 30 years, and Dave and Jeff have been together in the Steve Brown Band, which is a really well-known Adelaide blues band for many years. And Steve does the Jeff Cocker, Joe Cocker show here in Adelaide, and got an amazing, powerful voice, and and I get on well with Steve as well. So lots of.
I mean, it's funny. The band's called Paul on the Road, and all these roads that we have as creatives and musicians and working together, they all somehow intersect, don't they? At one point,
Well, that's true.
This amazing thing called music. It's a remarkable pathway that it takes to bring us all together, doesn't it?
Yeah. You mentioned the Outback. That's definitely true about our crossed paths, but and parallel paths. But you mentioned the Outback, and in Holler in the Bones, I'd been doing a lot of stuff out in the desert, and I used to live up in an Aboriginal community, and I got up the Flinders, and I've been out in Mungo, my brother's Western New South Wales. I love the Outback, I love the desert, and so to me the road is really a symbol of Australia, if you like, the country in Australia, because Australia is full of long roads and some wonderful bush roads and outback roads and desert roads. My partner's always teasing me about how many favourite roads I've got. Oh, this is my favourite road, I'll tell you. I've got so many favourite roads. Yeah.
Next one. So, it's funny, like you say, like I read that your music was described as dirty soul and blues, and when you do get into the outback, especially in the Aboriginal communities, the blues music that comes out of there and that dirty soul is so resonant. I found some amazing voices. I was up in the Alice for a while, and in Darwin, you find some amazing voices in those communities. Community, the outback, and it is that dirty soul. It is that blues. It's that old sort of Sun House sort of stuff mixed with Hank Williams. And then you get these beautiful timbers in these voices. They're just
absolutely.
Outback. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. No, you're singing my song there. That's that's so true. And I think you look at voices like Frank Yama. I played with the Pukacha band. I played in an Aboriginal band. And I recorded at Karma Records, which is home of a Rumpy band, and Yothu Indi. We basically wasn't much more than the glorified demo, but it was amazing to record on hallowed ground there in terms of Aboriginal music. I've just bought King Stingrays on vinyl because I like my vinyl records. Can't compete with our bass player, Michael Winters, got the best vinyl collection. I'm trying to add some more. I've got some Kev Carmody, trying to add some more Aboriginal bands to my collection. Love to get a good Yothu Indi and Warumpi in there as well.
That studio, I was talking to someone once, and I described that studio as, our equivalent of Sun Studios or the RCA Studio Number 5 in Nashville.
Yeah.
The music that's come out of there is so important to Australian history, not just that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander background, but our culture as music as a country. It's just as important as Albert sitting up in Darlinghurst, and it should be celebrated. It really should be preserved for future generations to understand the great music that comes out of there. So I know what you mean. You said you recorded on hallowed ground.
Yeah. I really like I like the direction that King Stingray's going in, move away from Yothu Indi. Obviously, bands recording up in Arnhem, and my old band, we did a fantastic gig up at Maningrida for the Lura Music Festival, which is Blackfella Festival, and we were the one whitefella band. Although Gilly, who was the blackfella in our band, kept saying "Oi" every time I said we're the whitefella band. So we're the whitefella band with Gilly. Yeah, but we were recorded. We performed in front of 2,000-3,000 Arnhem Land mob live. They were all there in the Maningrida, but then also another big mob on the radio across Arnhem Land that night, and so that was really fun. We were playing funk then, and that was more like Holler in the Bones kind of line up in Ashmen. These are sort of wonderful experiences I've had in music. I was the resident muso at the Maree Camel Cup for 5 years as well, around that same time. and so.
Is it these cultures and these experiences? Do they influence your songwriting?
Yeah, absolutely. And I should say that my brother, Jimmy James Jagamara MacLeod, is adopted. He was Aboriginal. He passed away in 2017. My father was a doctor at the Aboriginal Medical Service for many years in Sydney. He was at the in Everleigh Street, Louis Street, in Redfern. So we grew up in the Aboriginal community, even though we're all white fellas in my family. Oh well, except for my adopted brothers and sister. But my dad had a lot of respect. He was friends with Fred Hollows, and I grew up with Aboriginal people, and they're around the Aboriginal Medical Service, and but I also dreamed of coming out to the desert, and so when I got to do that when I was 30. That was really exciting for me. And I was really, it's a good, it's not many times necessarily as an artist where you're really open to listening, but because I had such respect for the elders and the music that was there, and I didn't want to be bringing my culture, I wanted to absorb their culture. It's kind of like more receptive, way of creating. Like I was trying to absorb and learn their style, and so we were doing. Then they were in the cusp between the rock and roll phase, and they were moving into desert reggae, which is a little bit ska sometimes when it gets a bit faster. And certainly there've been some good ska bands in the past, like Coloured Stone, who Paul and the Road are going to be playing with. Hopefully Bunner will get up with us at the Semaphore Music Festival, and sing something. But certainly, just to be part of the same festival is an honour for me. He taught my brother James in Sydney at the Eora Centre in Redfern, and he stayed with me when I was in Ernabella in Pukacha in the desert there. So talking about cross paths, music festivals, bringing a few other ones there. Is my music rooted in Aboriginal culture? Well, it's very strong influence. My other two brothers are African American, and we also grew up with African American spirituals, and so when I was in my 20s, I really got into blues music, and I used to go up to the library when I was living in the Blue Mountains in Katoomba, and I'd go up to the library and borrow all the blues tapes. And I get 2 or 3 a week and explore all the musos that way, the composers that way. Now I'm still doing the same thing. But I'm doing it all on Apple Music and working my way and YouTube and working my way through a blues and it's a blues encyclopedia I've got. And I'm still only up to about G or something. Got a long way to get through the alphabet. Yeah.
But that really comes through in your music. Like I was looking at some of your YouTube videos of your band performing, and 2 things I noticed is that everyone's really in sync with each other, but the audience responds really quickly too. As you start playing, all of a sudden there's one video, it's quite funny. There's one guy there sort of solo dancing and grooving along, and all of a sudden there's 2, then all of a sudden there's 3, all of a sudden there's 30, 40, and it's like started with one guy. And I think as the song develops and builds, the band builds and builds, and that's why people can't resist but get up and dance and celebrate.
Yeah.
That's really
well. The road is we've got Jeff Alger on drums, played an album with the Waifs. Michael Winter has played with Chris Finnan, like the big man of Adelaide Blues, for years. He's still Chris Finnan's main bass player, and he's filled in for Chain sometimes. Dave Rhodes has played with all these top jazz musos and different rock and pop outfits around Adelaide, and he's an extraordinary guitarist who has so much respect from other guitarists, including Chris, who he's friends with. There's a lot of respect for all those guys. Jeannie's done stuff in England and America. So there's a level of experience and professionalism that is just a delight, when you're a songwriter, to be able to get up with a crew like that behind you is just fantastic.
Also seems to be synergy. Sorry, cut off the
Well,
synergy
yeah, and I
between you and
think that's
Dave.
where we're getting to. We're getting there, and as I said to Dave, like a couple of rehearsals ago, I just said, oh, I'm starting to feel the gestalt thing. The gestalt thing is starting to happen, and that's really exciting. That's you're getting into real magic country there. Yeah, and that's just the musos getting to know each other and the songs, and it's so that feel the grooves really starting to synergy. Gestalt it's becoming bigger and better. So and that sort of stuff. Like when you get that together as a group, it really comes out like what you described, what happened in the audience. Like that kind of magic starts really happening like that.
Yeah.
When you're together like that as a group.
How do you balance, Paul? How do you balance staying true to your roots whilst evolving to a new sound or try to keep fresh? And so, is that a challenge?
There's lots of challenges in songwriting and leading a band, but like I think you learn to relax a bit more when you've got a bit more experience and you've seen it happen, and you know what works and what doesn't. One thing I really like doing, and Jeff's offered, and our drummer has offered to come over, and with Holler in the Bones, I found because I'm a natural ballad writer, all right, and I'd say like I tend to be slow and dirgy and emote and all of that sort of thing. But like you're describing the people in the crowd, and I think to keep your band happy, you need to keep the crowd happy, and the band will be on my back if I'm too slow and dirgy, like whatever. No matter how deep and meaningful my experience of that song is or whatever, if it's slow and dirgy, no one gives a rat's after a couple. They'll let you have one or two, but after that they'll be on your back. So and I see it sort of. I think I'm trying to compartmentalize my urges, my creative urges these days, so that I'm looking at doing some more, because I've got to honor and recognize my impulses of in my inspirations of the slower and dirtier stuff. But getting things like getting Jeff over will be really important to keep up those dance numbers. And I heard some quote, and this is totally misquoted, so it's just my grasp of the meaning of it. But that a 2-minute throwaway pop song can mean more than a song that you've worked on for a year. That you've dirged and torn your heart out of, and I think that there's a lovely freedom in that idea, even though it's frustrating because you put so much effort and blood, sweat, and tears into some things. I think like there might be gold in just 5 minutes of songwriting or 10 minutes of songwriting. I love that idea. I think that's great. There's a song called "Open Your Mind" that I do with the Road. That actually, I did first with the Bones, and that came out of a groove that Eddie, the drummer in that band, was playing, and I wrote the words in 10 minutes, and it's still one of our most popular songs, and especially on the dance floor, because it just had a great feel and a great groove, and it was a simple idea, like drop that bloke and come with me. It was pretty. It's nothing to it, but it really connects with people, and. Whereas, I've just finished a song this week that I started writing 27 years ago in the Blue Mountains, and it's a lot heavier and a lot deeper. But and not everyone's necessarily going to get into that as much as the dancey one. But it means a lot to me, And
I was about to say it's important to finish it. It's so. They were talking to Guy Clark once, and I said, do you want to sit down and finish the song? He goes, I've got songs I started writing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Say 27 years. It's not how it's going to sound commercially or how the audience is going to respond. It's the fact that it's meant something to you and it's evolved with you as a person, as a songwriter. And I think that's really a key that a lot of young songwriters need to learn is that patience too.
Patience. That's right. In this case. I think it's patience, but I think in a way, like the most important thing is to grab opportunities. And if you get an idea in your head, write it down. Or, these days with phones, it's great. I use my little voice messages all the time. And if I'm lost for inspiration, I can just go through all of those because I've got all these little ideas that I've just put out on the phone. And and then I can knuckle down and write the lyrics to it or whatever. Yeah, I tend to be groove first, music first, but I can be concept first as well. But then I might find a groove to go with the concept, and then I'll still have to do the writing and the work, that goes with it.
You mentioned before you're a teacher.
Yep. Yeah.
Are there crossovers there between standing up in front of a class and standing up in front of a band that you've found, or that you like to keep the two separate?
No, I'm quite happy with the connections. That's fine. I mean, like, we spoke about my love of Aboriginal First Nation cultures, and so, and that's shamanic, and shamanic cultures, the teacher and the preacher and the singer and the musician are all one, and this is where, I love black. My mother hates me wearing black, and my partner's not that keen on it either, but I love wearing black. And people go, "Oh, you look like a priest." I go, "I'm happy with that. I don't mind." Both my grandfathers were ministers of the church. I'm not a minister of the church. I'm not here to sell religion, but I definitely have a very strong spiritual component in my personal beliefs and experience of performance. The experience of performance is quite an incredible experience of exchange of energies between a front person, and an audience, and it's in a very humbling way. And of course, people see you as this big strong figure, but you're left with feelings of great gratitude when you've had a gig that are really humbling and make you feel really just grateful for having been able to be part of that, and to make someone happy is a great gift, and to see people with that same sort of look of that was a great gig that I'm feeling after a gig. It's a beautiful gift that I've been given to be part of that. I love that.
Similar when you're able to put together this band and then get to record. The band's just released their CD, I think last week or last weekend.
Yeah.
Is that the same feeling, like you're able to record with these people who are making up a component of your life and capturing this time capsule in your life, but also when you get the physical product and you get to launch it and you get to feel it, and it's like this is a connection between myself and these 4 or 5 people, and we now get to capture it forever.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a marker, like it's a marker in time. Music's much more fluid in the process, and in some ways, I think we're playing some of the songs on the album better now than we were when we recorded it, just with that time. And so, you can have the luxury of a regret and suggest that, well, maybe it would have been better if we did it later, but it's just a marker, and it gets you started. It keeps you going, and it actually allows you to move on to the new songs. The recording. That's, as a songwriter, that's almost my favorite thing about completing an album, is being able to start a new one. And get on with new ideas, because you go in deep to each song, and you focus so much on it. So it's nice to be able to move on. And I mean, that said, it's still a pleasure, a joy. It's still a joy to perform those songs. But now your mind can start, moving on to where would I like to go, where would I like to be, or what, But, and when I say I mean, I was saying about the complexity and of being a songwriter in a band. It's like you're really trying to capture the vibe of the band and what works well for that band, and paint a picture about who we are. And I think in some ways we're evolving. We're really coming into form now as a band, Paul on the Road. We're starting to develop an identity and a feel and a shape. And because the musicians in it are so experienced and flexible and versatile, there's all of those, well, if we talk about roads again, there's all those different roads we can go down. But what's our main street? What's our, where's our vibe? Where's our place? What's our feel? I think that's important for everyone in the band's sense of identity and belonging and connection to a thing, to identify as part of the road. to get that clear picture. And I really feel we're in a good place at the moment. Like we're in a really lovely starting to come together in terms of who we are, and what we are, and what we have to say. Yeah.
We're going to get to hear what you have to say and have to play. As all roads head to Semaphore in a few weeks to the 20th anniversary of the festival. What can we expect from Paul on the Road at the Semaphore Music Festival this year?
Well, we don't leave anything on the field. We leave it all out there. That's what I mean.
Yep.
And we'll be putting on the best show that we possibly can. We just have fun. We have lots of fun. And the Semaphore Music Festival closing party, which is the Sunday party, is just one big party, and it's uplifting. If you listen to the last song on our album, you'll see there's a touch of the gospel in there, gospel rock, like in a Blues Brothers kind of sense, like it's music that will lift your heart, lift your spirits, There's introspection, there's funk, there's some grit, there's some dirt, there's all of those things along the way. But the vibe for the Semaphore Music Festival from Paul on the Road is going to be very uplifting, fun party. It should be a ball. We're hoping to get heaps of people up on the dance floor and just dance out, boogie out, and there might be some very special guests up there on the stage with us. So, and some of whom are my heroes.
Fantastic.
Bunna Laurie's my hero. Lockie Dolly's my hero. Just being in the same room as them, those guys is exhilarating for me. So
both of those artists to collaborate with your band, from what I've seen and heard, would be a fantastic experience for sure.
Yeah.
Give me 3 words. What's it like to be Paul MacLeod on stage?
Hungry, seeking, joyful.
Fantastic. I love the joyful component. It has to be joyful. We have to be happy. It has to be our happy place to certainly be there. So fantastic. Paul MacLeod, thank you so much for your time today. Where can fans keep up with you online?
So we're starting a new Instagram site. I've got to get on that one because I'm more your Facebook man. You can see Paul on the Road on Facebook. There's also Paul and Dave site, which is on there as well. And Paul and the Road are available on Bandcamp, our new album. So please, if you want to check out our music, check out Paul on the Road on Bandcamp. And there's a couple of videos on the Paul on the Road on Facebook as well.
Fantastic. We're going to throw those links in our show notes for today. So for everyone who's watching, listening, check out the show notes. You can get the new album from Bandcamp exclusively. Paul MacLeod, can't wait to see you in the road at Semaphore in a few weeks' time. Thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on the new album, and thanks for keeping that amazing spirit of our natural culture and our heritage alive with the rest of the music from you've learned and shared with around the world. It's a really exciting sound you've got, and I can't wait to see you at that day in Semaphore.
Thank you. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, mate. All right.
Cheers, mate.